am Bill Landing, and thank you for joining us again on Interesting Individuals. We're doing a Valentine's show, but we're going to be concentrating on some heavier aspects. We're going to discuss some of the gangsters that existed in the 1920s in Chicago. Chicago had over 12,000 speakeasies that people went to. Murder was widespread as 600 murders took place during that decade. Gang wars were going on constantly. The biggest murder to occur in Chicago that year was the St.Valentine's Day Massacre. And it was around 10:30 a.m. on February the 14th. 7 men were in the North Clark Street garage in the Lincoln Park area. They all were members of Bugs Moran's group. There was Frank and Peter Gusenberg brothers, James Clark, Adam Heyer, Reinhardt Swimmer, an optometrist who left his practice to become a member of the gang, Albert Weinshank, who it was reported resembled Moran physically, and John May, a car mechanic for the Moran gang. Moran was running late that day, and he thought it was strange when a police wagon pulled up in front of the garage, and 2 uniformed police officers and 2 casually dressed men got out of this and went inside. Moran and associates stopped by a nearby coffee shop, and minutes later, people were entering and talking about the shooting. It was believed that Al Capone was behind the massacre, but there was never any proof that he had done it. Elaborating a little bit more on Al Capone here, Capone had his hand in a lot of things during the 1920s. Bootlegging, gambling, prostitution. Capone's group was known as the Chicago Outfit. Capone, it was reported, made approximately $100 million a year with his various enterprises. Capone escaped a number of assassination attempts, and over 30 murders were believed to be done by Capone's gang. But what put Capone in prison was not paying his income tax from 1925 to 1929. Capone spent time in the famous Alcatraz prison in February of 1938. Capone was diagnosed with syphilis of the brain. Capone was then sent to a Pennsylvania prison and released in 1939. The syphilis continued to ravage his brain, and in 1947 he died of heart failure in Florida. Stay tuned. Margie Swift, you and Mary Dickerson look ridiculous dressed as men. Why?
Because, Jack McGurn, men in Chicago are grabbing and clawing at women. This way, fewer men are likely to notice us.
I see. Well, just to play it safe, stay out of the Ronaldo restaurant, okay? I'm going to be working there tonight.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Got your machine gun oiled and ready to go?
Absolutely. We'll see you around, Margie.
Okay, Jack. I'll be sure to check the paper tomorrow for who you killed.
You have got to try harder to hustle drinks. This is our 3rd week in a row where we're down. We're taking a loss.
Hey, look. I bring in more money than the other girls. You're just still hoping to become one of Al Capone's flunkies. He's got dozens like you working for him.
Yeah, but if he were using me, I would have some good ideas.
Like what? You're just a second-rate gangster. And this club? This is all you've got to show anyone. Well, 2 men just came in. I'll go to work on them.
It is 1865, and on this train that will stop in Warren, Ohio, there are over 100 Valentine's Day cards in them, and each one has a clue to the North Civil War soldiers, generals, colonels, and majors. Amos, a bum, who will be paid $500 to stop the cards from being delivered to the right parties. He's planning on doing that, and he's not above committing murder to stop it. However, Zelda, a girl who's good with a gun, wants to stop him. Let's see what happens.
Amos, who paid you to do this?
I can't reveal that, Zelda, but I am, however, being paid $500 to destroy all those Valentine cards on the train when it pulls in.
You're crazy. They have guards on that train. These cards are going to officers in the North to help them win the war.
I'll kill all of them if I have to take those cards.
You can't get away with this, you fool.
I have my escape plan all set out.
I'm not going to let you do it.
Zelda, come on now. You're not going to use that.
Those cards are going to help stop the war. Don't. I've never shot one of these before, let alone killed somebody. But one life against thousands is worth it. Here are some of the popular gangster movies over the years in no particular order. The Untouchables, 1987. Goodfellas, 1990. Once Upon a Time in America, 1984. The French Connection, 1971. Angels with Dirty Faces, 1938. Public Enemy, 1931. Little Caesar, 1930. Scarface, Shame of the Nation, 1932. Each Dawn I Die, 1938. The Roaring Twenties, 1939. The Valachi Papers, 1972. Mean Streets, 1973. The Godfather, 1972. And The Godfather Part 2, 1974. Here are some of the things that went on in 1929. Some of the top movies were Broadway Melody, Sunny Side Up, Rio Rita, Showboat, and The Desert Song. Popular performers at the movies were Buster Keaton, Douglas Fairbanks, Lon Chaney, Charlie Chaplin, Greta Garbo, Janet Gaynor, and Marlene Dietrich.
Here are some of the most well-known gangsters in Chicago's history. Of course, Al Capone, Frank Nitti, Johnny Torrio, Machine Gun Jack McGurn, the Jenna Brothers, Big Jim Colosimo, Jaime Weiss, Dean O'Bannon, George Bugs Moran, and Frank and Peter Gusenberg, both brothers. An interesting note on Frank Gusenberg at the time of the St. Valentine Massacre: he was married to two women at the same time. Neither woman knew it.
I wish Joe would hurry up now. It's cold out here.
Oh, I'm telling you, Frank, it's 6 degrees below zero, the coldest day so far of 1937.
Where have you two been?
Joe, you said Andrew Street.
You clowns! I said Andrew Street.
All right.
Well, when do we hit the bank, Joe? I'm freezing.
We hit the armored car in 8 minutes. $240,000, and it's ours.
And we'll burn the guards if we have to.
If we have to. Gunshots will make everyone take notice.
What are you two going to do with your money?
Well, I'm going to take a cruise to Hawaii.
Me, I'm going to go way up into Canada. This country's beautiful up there.
I'm headed to Mexico, and the first person that refers to me as Josephine gets a punch in the jaw. Well, we need to get ourselves into position.
Sure.
By the way, what's today's date?
I think it's February 14th. Yeah. There are many gangster movies out there, as you know, and there are many gangster movies that are public domain. Here are some: Detour, 1945, DOA, 1950, Double Cross, 1941, Gambler's Choice, 1944, Gangbusters, 1955, The Hoodlum, 1951, Impact, 1949, Johnny One Eye, 1950, Kansas City Confidential, 1959, Lady Gangster, 1942, Sun Sets at Dawn in 1950, Timetable, 1956, Whistle Stop, 1946, and X Marks the Spot, 1942.
And here are some more public domain gangster films. Man Who Cheated Himself, 1950. Open Secret, 1948. Scarlet Street, 1945. The Second Woman, 1951. Shock, 1946. The Strange Loves of Martha Ivers, 1946. And The Wrong Road, 1936.
And finally, some more gangster films that are in the public domain. The Big Combo, 1955. Big Town After Dark, 1947. Borderline, 1950. The Capture, 1950. The Chase, 1946. And Dark Mountain, 1936.
Well, it's time now to take a look back at the 1958 snowstorm that hit Michigan City. On Saturday afternoon, February 15th, snow began to fall and continued to fall heavily into the night. By late Saturday night, many were stranded at nightclubs, churches, and hotels, just to name a few. The Rainbow Girls' Valentine dance that Saturday evening turned into a sleepover as 15 couples were not able to make it home. A newlywed couple, along with 200 of their guests, had to stay overnight at the Memorial Park Hall because of the heavy snow. The Central Fire Department building had over 50 cots and beds for workers to sleep on. An ambulance was also parked at the station for emergency use. The 8 taxi cabs in the city were put out of use around 10:30 Saturday night. The South Shore trains, however, were able to run, their snowplows having began clearing the tracks in the afternoon hours. There was no mail delivery as the route made it difficult for route carriers on foot. A water main broke and flooded the intersection of Highway 12 and Liberty Trail, which further added problems along with the snow. Over 70 pieces of equipment carrying 100 workers entered Michigan City to help out. They came from such cities as Gary, South Bend, Chicago, East Chicago, Hammond, and as far away as Wabash and Fort Wayne. Drifts on some of the local highways were estimated to be about 12 feet high. The snowstorm took its toll at the state prison as numerous personnel could not make it into the prison, and those that were already there were going to have to stay there overnight. The Spalding Hotel, between the hours of midnight to 6 a.m., rented out 45 rooms. There are several number of inches of snow that's been calculated for this. I've heard anywhere from 31 inches, 36 inches, and 40 inches in 36 hours. I have spoken to many people who were in that snowstorm, and everyone has a story to tell about the storm of 1958. That will conclude this segment of Interesting Individuals. As always, big thank yous to pass out to Andy Steele, Cindy Taylor, Sue Copeland, owner of Costume World, and John Baines. I'm Bill Landing. We will see you again soon.